one of those things that we need to first acknowledge. Let's go to the Mo Riddle and see what it is today. I mean, this weekend, the Mo Riddle has taken us on a high and a low. I mean, only one Mo Riddle this weekend had more than 5 people entering to put in their answer. And that was the answer of Park Ji-sung. Stan Matthews and the other Mo Riddle didn't get as much attention because a lot of people didn't quite know what the answer was. But today we're trying to see how well you know your football. Well, you definitely know that first man that is mentioned in the riddle. It says, Pele named me in his FIFA 100 list. I played for Sporting Gijón, Barcelona, Real Madrid, and I got 62 caps for the Spanish international team. And I am currently a world-class football manager. Who am I? So Pele named him in his FIFA 100 list. He went on to play for Gijón, Barcelona, and he played for Real Madrid. He got 62 caps for Spain. If you know who he is, and I definitely think you should know who he is, then save the following number. It's 071-621-4746. Now you're tuned into channel 150 on your open video code at Supa TV, powered by Super Bets. And Obi knows, what should the people expect on today's show?
Well, on today's show, we'll be looking at some of the headlines that have been making news, football news around the world, taking a look at what are the headlines actually saying, who is in and who's going out of certain clubs. We'll be covering a lot of that in the first segment of the show. We'll also be talking about CAF Champions League and CAF Confed. Of course, the Confederations Cup was concluded yesterday. Well, the semi-finals were concluded. Now we know exactly who will be in the final, so we'll be letting you know onto what or who is rather playing in those finals. Also talking a little bit about what's going on in Euro 2021. But let's kick it off with the news, of course. And we're kicking it off here in South Africa, as usual. We're talking about Royal AM. That's the first thing we usually talk about when we come onto the show. And this time around, they've actually got a chance to go stand in court and lay their claim. And it's obvious right now that, of course, the question was with the 3 points that they've been giving away for not showing up. Will those 3 points be granted to the teams that were playing them, which is Chippa United and Richards Bay? So what I read was that is not going to happen. That is not what is going to happen. I did say that the league table has not been updated. I'm talking about the playoff table has not been updated to say that these games took place and the walkover has been granted to the teams that were there, that were present to play the match. So what's been said is that that's not what's going to happen. So I do see more drama coming through from the PSL after this situation. Yeah.
So what does that say to the teams that actually showed up? They wasted resources going there because now don't forget it's a player call-out fee, there's transport fees. Most of these teams don't even own their own buses. So when you're saying that they must show up to a pitch where the opponent doesn't show up, disrespectfully shows up and then leaves. No, guys.
It's too much. I mean, and for them it was a home game as well. For Royal AM it was 2 home games that they had, which they were supposed to play against Chippa United and Richards Bay, and they didn't. They pitched up for one, that first one, but they didn't even go onto the field. And then the second one they didn't even show up at all. So yeah, I do think that it's a problem. It's a real problem, and teams are being disrespected by Royal AM at this point. Looking at it from this point of view, they are being disrespected. But you look at it from the point of view of Royal AM, they still pretty much do have a case to claim here.
So what is their case to claim?
So, they are saying that, there's 2 judges who are residing over this case. So the first judge...
In the same court or in 2 different courts?
In 2 different courts, clearly, because we can't have the same judge we can't have 2 judges in one
Imagine
court.
all those guys was Alex and Soweto and Tebiso who stabbed someone and wished I could also have my own judge in my own court. You know what I'm saying?
That's exactly what happened, So the ruling they are going with is the ruling that states that they are rightfully supposed to be at the top of the table. And the ruling that is going against them is saying that they should be second, and Sekhukhune should be going into the Premier League. So yeah, at this point, that's what we're dealing with right now. We have 2 judgments that have been given, and both teams, all 3 teams are abiding to whichever one suits them best. Obviously, Chippa United, and Richards Bay have to go with what the PSL and the NFD are saying.
And Sekhukhune United.
But now Royal AM are standing on their case and saying, hey, we still have a case here, and we want it to be heard, and we want to gain something.
When you're in business, right, you tend to always think that legally there's another way. There's legally another way. There's legally another route. We can go to our lawyers. We can get another consultation. We can get a second opinion. And that's what's taking this process so long. Usually with other teams, it would have been like, okay, fine, this is what happens, this is what the PSL says. Let's go with what the PSL says. But because we're dealing with people that come from the world of commerce, they'll always try to say, let's get a second opinion, let's get a second. And that's exactly what's making this whole process take so long. But let's move on and talk about Clayton Daniels. He's not worried about Maritzburg United.
He's not worried. Of course, last week we did break the story that Maritzburg United, not in fact it was the previous week, we broke the story that Maritzburg United could be a club that would be sold. And this is what he had to say regarding that situation. He says, you know, I don't really worry about those kinds of news. It's something that is always going around in the media. Clubs wanting to sell and they end up not selling. You know, they said the same thing about Bloemfontein Celtic for a couple of years and nothing has happened. So yeah, I'm not reading too much into that. Of course, he's turning 37 years old in a couple of weeks' time. And, you know, Clayton Daniels is one of those players who's been in the PSL for a very long time, you know, represented... he represented Mamelodi Sundowns, SuperSport United, Ajax Cape Town, Bloemfontein Celtic, and, you know, currently representing Maritzburg United. And for a player... of his caliber, you know, the way he left SuperSport was a big question, of course, because Gaetano Tembo did say that he doesn't have enough players and all of those things. Was playing young players in the centre-back position, letting go of an experienced player, which was a bad move if you ask me. But you know, he went on to Maritzburg United, had a new lease on his career. So I'm just disappointed that you know, we have these news that are coming out of the club, you know, possibly being sold. And if you have been following what Maritzburg United have done with their brand, I mean, Friday night football is a real thing in KZN, and it's because of the work that Maritzburg United have been putting in. I'd be very, very disappointed if all that work came down to them having to, you know, sell the club because of, you know, a lack of financial help. So yeah, it's something that is going to bother the players, of course. But Clayton Daniel, he's saying that it's not going to bother me for now. So they're focusing on the game, and that's it.
I mean, a lot of players will then say, but thinking back just to last season when COVID struck, there was lockdowns. When the football came back, we heard news that Highlands and Wits would be no more. And it's something that we live with in South African football, that clubs do get sold. And then the thing is, when you think about the sale of a club in context of how we see it in Europe and how we see it here in Africa, in Europe, a club gets sold, it just changes hands. It's like Manchester United goes from this guy, it goes to that guy. Yeah. In South Africa, when a club gets sold, it's a whole different situation. I mean, the name changes, the stadium changes, training grounds, everything gets uprooted. Yeah. And it's just, the only thing that stays is the status. And at this point in time, you'd have to think about it and say, maybe he might be certain, he might be safe, but what's happening in the boardrooms might be a whole different situation. But let's move on and talk about Orlando Pirates and Steve Kompela. Now, Orlando Pirates have finally spoken up.
Yeah, Floyd Mbele coming out and making a statement, of course. He actually spoke to the Daily Sun, our fellow man there, Matthews Mbete, broke the story. And he says that this is what Floyd Mbele had to say. He says, we have a coach. I don't know where those rumors come from. We have never brought another coach while another one is there and say he must take over. So basically, they're saying that, you know, Zimbabwe is still in his job. I mean, it doesn't look like, from what he just said there, it doesn't look like, you know, Steve Kompela will be heading to Orlando Pirates. But of course, you know, the fans have been speculating about it. And with the move that Mandla Ncikazi made, coming from Golden Arrows and going to Orlando Pirates, it made a lot of fans, you know, conclude what they had thought would happen already. You know, they were like, Mandla Ncikazi, they worked together at Golden Arrows, worked together at Maritzburg, so it could be a thing.
1+1.
1+1. But Pirates, you know, Pirates are currently saying that no, it's not the case. So as it stands right now, the two assistant coaches at Orlando Pirates will remain Fadlu Davids, will remain as a Mandla Ncikazi, and the head coach will still be Joseph Zimbabwe.
You know what's the funny thing about this whole situation now? This whole season, we all knew about Mamelodi Trio, the Mamelodi Three coaches. But at this point in time, I mean, the only coaches you've ever seen in the media are not Steve Kompela. I mean, Steve Kompela has been on the sidelines when it comes to the media talks. And I jokingly said that maybe it was because he speaks such bombastic words that they don't want the fans to be confused while this guy is coming and saying abstract words on the side of the pitch. But clearly, Obi knows, it looks like maybe he's not the main man. He's one of the three, but he's not the most prominent. Is that why people are opening up the door for his move? I feel like the media and everybody else has opened up the door for his move.
I think they're opening that door for the move, especially after those awards. Once you know, only two coaches were you know, put up for the nomination, and so of course, you know, I also was a bit worried about it. I was like, so what is Steve's position? Because he's a senior coach. What's a senior coach? Is he overseeing what these guys are doing? But what experience does he have to be able to be overseeing what Mamngoma Nciti and Rulani are doing? So hey, look, there's still a lot of question marks about Steve Kompela's position at Mamelodi Sundowns. But I do believe that you know, with so many coaches there, It was so easy for the fans to say he's the most available coach. He's coming from a team that just won the league. Mentally, he's already been at a big club like Kaizer Chiefs. He's failed there, so he kind of knows, how to go around things. And, of course, all these things, you can be drawing up your own conclusions.
Yeah.
But Orlando Pirates did come out and they shut it down and said, no, Zimbabwe is still in the job. So we have to wait and see what happens before the beginning of the season.
Because it's crazy. It's like saying that Blossom is going to leave the Powerpuff Girls. It's like saying that, Quavo is going to leave the Migos. It's kind of like that. It's like, it is also, remember, there was one, now we're going to go into hip-hop culture. Let's just stay with the soccer. Let's not get carried away. Let's talk about Thabo Senong. He's quitting Lesotho.
Yeah, he's quit his job as head coach in Lesotho. And actually, Lesotho, is, last week I read something on Lesotho. And they are the first national team in Africa to actually have a national team's training facility. So this is like their own Naturena. And as you can see on your screen there, apparently he's linked to a move to Sekhukhune. So he could be in the PSL, if even Sekhukhune in the PSL. But those are the rumors that are currently circulating. He did leave his job as Lesotho manager and he's could be joining Sekhukhune in the PSL. So coming back to that story that I read on Lesotho, they are the first country to have its own, the national team has its own Naturena to make,
training camp,
its own training camp and own training facilities. And I'm wondering to myself, like, Bafana,
they don't deserve.
Yeah. No, but with all the money that's pumped into Safa and all these things.
No. Well, this is Mzansi. We built soccer city. They were like, when I make a post office there, then when I put Safa's badge on it, there's the offices there.
At least we do know that also Egypt are struggling to get their own training facility for them.
Yeah, but there's sand everywhere. First, you must hook up Kras first. you must call your Kras guy.
Must come and plant the Kras first, okay?
You must call your friends in Dubai. Like, yo, who's that guy who made that golf course for you guys? We need him. We need Kras up here. Don't you think that's the situation? But nobody knows. Let's talk about the situation. Now, this is why my problem with the whole situation with Royal AM is a big problem for me, because it doesn't just affect Royal AM. It affects Sekhukhune United, who now... Wait, hold on. Sekhukhune United will then have to come back and say, okay, if the whole thing gets reversed, Sekhukhune United has to go play the playoffs. Chippa United and Richards Bay have showed up for their playoffs.
Yeah.
So what does that now mean for those two clubs? They have to now go play an additional amount of games with their players who are now tired, Sekhukune's players who are on rest. It becomes a whole different situation. It's not just the PSL. I mean, it's not just the boardroom that's the problem. It's the mechanics. These are people's bodies we're talking about. You know what I mean? Yeah. And having to play these qualifiers and play another group of qualifiers, and then maybe something happens again. Then you see what my problem is there.
One thing I can say is that if hypothetically speaking, the DC then decides that we have to backtrack these playoffs. I mean, Chippa United are already, in the PSL again. They're done with the playoffs at this point. So I think if that is going to happen, then there's another court case that is coming through from Chippa United.
They must just extend the PSL.
They must just add more teams.
They must just like 20 teams and let it go.
Add more teams.
All right, let's carry on. Let's talk about Haaland. Apparently, he spent 500k. He spent €500,000 on a night out. Erling Haaland.
6 hours apparently is the amount.
6 hours?
Is the amount of time he spent in this place. So it was released by a Greek newspaper because he was in Greece. I don't know if you saw the videos of him in Greece with Riyad Mahrez. It was a good time. And so, as you can see, Stefan Bikonowski, he says Greek sports newspaper Sport Time are reporting that Dortmund striker Erling Haaland spent 500k euros in 6 hours at a restaurant on the island of Minokos. I'm pretty sure Mykonos, yes, there you go, and ended up leaving a 30k tip for the staff. And that's why Erling Haaland also came through and responds to the tweet. He says, I think they forgot the main courses. Fake news. Clearly saying that he spent a whole lot more money than he did on that night. I mean, it's crazy.
I think the 30k was hush money. Like you guys didn't see anything. I was not even here.
No, it was a night he spent with Riyad Mahrez. I mean, it was all over Twitter. People are saying, Manchester City fans were saying it's Agent Mahrez on the job. Trying to put him into Manchester City. And he actually had a very good time. I saw the videos of it. It looked like, there's a very good friendships that were built on that
we all know that in Mzansi, these things happen. These are regular things in South Africa. These are fine. As long as you have politician friends, you know the truth. My question is, what are you spending €500,000 on?
My God, what are you spending on at a restaurant?
What food is this?
My God, that man must just close the restaurant and be like, I got $500,000. Let me maybe go open another one. My guy, there's no way. Just
Yo,
imagine how much turnover he made in that day.
But don't forget this. The meals might have been those ones where you buy a leaf and some syrup. You know, you get a leaf, some syrup, and an oxtail.
An oxtail.
Get an oxtail, a leaf, and some syrup for €500,000. Let's take a break. When we come back, the conversation will go back to football and we'll leave culinary arts alone.
Love to play?
You know that if you get this...
Yes, if you get this goal, it's like 10,000.
Okay, here's my logic. Hello, my baby. Oh, what?
Multiply by 20.
Don't miss out on your favorite instant and live games this week. Catch Let's Play every day of the week at 2:30 p.m. only on Supa TV, OpenView, channel 150.
Welcome back to Mo Sports. If you're just joining us, we were talking about Erling Haaland's night out. 6 hours, €500,000. And he's saying it's not enough because apparently there was more that was spent there. So Obi knows wanted to find out how much is it in rands. Now, super viewers, take a seat. You're not ready for this one. If you are, I worry for you. In rands, there was 8.5 million rand that Riyad Mahrez at one restaurant in 6 hours. In 6 hours, 8.5 million rands. That's how much they spent on that night out. Welcome back to the show. This is channel 150 on your review code at Super TV, powered by Super Bets. This is Mo Sport. My name is Mo, and this is Obi Knows. We're doing the social distance here, as you can see, and let's give you the Mo riddle to test if you know your football that well. So today's Mo riddle is quite straightforward. I mean, you should know who this guy is. Pele named him in his FIFA 100 list. He made around 60 appearances for Spain, and he also played for Sporting Gijón. He played for Barcelona, and he played for Real Madrid. If you know who he is, then you definitely want to save the following number. It's 071-621-4746. Now let's continue our chats about local football. Let's talk about the CAF Champions League and the CAF Confederations Cup. Now we all know the final of the CAF Champions League, and that's Al Ahly versus Kaizer Chiefs. Yeah. You know, someone was saying, "Hey guys, do you guys understand the parallels that Chiefs is living with right now?" Now, I want you to think back to this season, just the previous season, the one that just ended. Chelsea sacked their coach just before they went into the semi-finals, and then they won the semi-finals, won the final. Al Ahly last season sacked their coach. They got Pito Musimani. He won them the CAF Champions League. Now Kaizer Chiefs have sacked their coach, and now they're sitting in the CAF Champions League finals for the first time in their history. Now, those are parallels that have been drawn here. Chelsea, Al Ahly, and now Kaizer Chiefs as well. Second their coaches on the way to a major final. And the question is, will Kaizer Chiefs be the third team in 2020-2021
who brought
to pull these things?
Who brought out these stats? Who brought out those facts?
Ash, I don't want to name drop, but if I do.
Oh, is he a Chiefs fan?
Yeah, Ash, he's a football fan.
He's a football fan.
I was looking at his statuses there. I was looking there. I saw you posted that picture. I was like, this man is... But those are the parallels. Do you think that we should be scared for Al Ahly? Because Stuart Baxter is there, he's smiling. He's like, woo, yeah, Jonas.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Think about it, though.
I'm thinking about it.
Chelsea did it.
I'm trying to think about it.
Chelsea did it twice. Maybe the secret to winning a continental trophy is sack the coach. Like, get to the semifinals. This guy must bounce. New team, new strategy, new philosophy. We're going to get it. The question is, Stuart Baxter, by then his permit will be okay, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And he'll be sitting on the bench.
Should be.
And the question is, should he let Baxter do it, or he should let Zwane do it? Because with Chelsea, it was Di Matteo who did it. And he got sacked the next season. This time it's Thomas Tuchel, fine, was the head coach. But the question is, should they just let Zwane finish what he started? Like Zwane third, I'm fit. Because the third coach now.
But to be honest, we've been saying that, it was probably the Golden Arrows game that Zwane and Dylan Shepherd took over, and there was no news of who's coming in as a coach at that time. And the last game of the season, I think we already had an idea that Stuart Baxter was going to come in. But when he started, it was the last game of the season when we started knowing about Baxter's, appointment.
Yeah.
So I do think that in the semi-final, the first leg of the semi-finals of CAF, there was a lot of work that Stuart Baxter would have done with the team, on the training grounds. So I do think that as much as we're giving Athason the credit, which he does solely deserve, he does deserve the credit that he's getting for leading Chiefs to the semi-finals. I still do think that Stuart Baxter should be the man in charge, because he's the man in charge, and he's been in charge of the trainings at Naturena, so he should be the man in charge in leading the team.
So that's the question, everybody. Do you think that Kaizer Chiefs will win the Champions League because they changed coaches? All I'm saying is, do you guys realize that Chiefs want to represent Africa? They're going to go from representing us as South Africans to representing Africa. Do you guys trust them? But do you trust them, Mo?
Look, I don't want to be talking too much about Kaizer Chiefs.
I know the opposite of a senior who doesn't quite trust them. But let's move on. Let's talk about what's happening in the CAF Confederation. So who's in the final of the CAF Confederation?
Raja Casablanca, my boy. I've been saying those are my favorites to win this competition. I've been saying it since the group stages that Raja, look, the football they play is football that you see teams like Al Ahly playing. Like they are pretty much on the same level. I wouldn't say that they go toe to toe with Al Ahly, because Al Ahly is the best team in Africa at this point. But look, they've been the best in this competition. I mean, after that draw with Orlando Pirates and going back to beat them 4-0 at their own home ground, I was already sure, my guy. I was already sure that these are the winners of this competition, and it seems like that's exactly what's going to happen. I mean, Kabylie, an Algerian side, not of course a team that is really recognized throughout the big stages of African football, but they've made it this far, so they'll definitely be a worthy opponent. But I still do believe that Raja Casablanca have it.
Or Raja Casablanca in the final of the CAF Confederations Cup, if you're just catching us. But let's move on and talk about the Euros, because we're done. Or is there anything you want to say about Africa before we move on to Europe, Obinos?
Nah, not really.
All I want to say is, guys, the parallels, they're too vivid. Maybe Kaizer Chiefs are the ones. Maybe
they're the ones.
And just a side note, let's not start calling them Bakaiza or Chiefs. Because you see how it worked out last time with Uruguay and Bagana. So guys, let's chill. Let's let Chiefs
let them do
their own journey. They'll come back when they're time. Let's let them do their own thing. But let's talk about the Euro 2020 now. It is an interesting time in world football at this moment in time, because international competition of the moment is the Euro 2020, and the first shock of the entire tournament, not of the entire tournament, but of the knockout phases came last night. And yesterday we had a whole discussion about who's pivotal. We talked about Dumfries. We talked about Gini Wijnaldum. I asked about the stock price of Patrick Schick. I asked about the stock price of that player. And you were like,
no, Mo. I said the stock price is going up.
But you said it wouldn't boom.
Yeah, I said he wouldn't.
I'm not fighting with you. I'm just reminding the people at home what we talked about.
Okay, are you also going to remind them that I've been talking about Frank de Boer?
Yeah, I know.
Remind them.
I'm trying to distract them from that. Because I knew that's where you would start, with Frank de Boer. But let's start here first of all. First and foremost. Let's go.
Okay, Netherlands is angry.
Let's go with the events of the show. Fine.
Okay.
The game started. De Ligt had a miss. They moved on. De Ligt got a
terrible miss.
De Ligt got a red card. Talk about the miss, then we'll talk about the red card.
That miss. So defender being a defender, he's in a position where he can literally, in fact, he was headering it in. He was trying to head that ball in, but lacked direction, and it went, across. Like it was like he's, playing it back into the box.
So he did this and the ball went.
That time the ball is here, my guy, and he's like, cool, the ball goes that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that I feel was the first big chance that Netherlands had to try and control the game and have it in their palm. So it was unfortunate that miss happened, and it led to the unfortunate. It led to them being desperate, and the more desperate they became, it gave opportunities to the Czech Republic to be able to play them a lot better.
Yeah.
And obviously led to that red card that De Ligt got.
What I'm saying is, now with that red card, right? If De Ligt didn't feel the presence of Patrick Schick, because Patrick Schick was all over him like a Nike shirt, like those second skins that they wear in the gym. That's how Patrick Schick was on this guy. And the thing is, De Ligt lost his balance. He's falling down. He can feel that if I let this one go, this guy is gone for goal. So what does he do? Rugby ball, scores the try. They're like, no, that's a red card because you handled the ball. And I understand a lot of defenders do that from time to time. I mean, when you feel like you're going down, you grab the ball to say, hey, this guy is fouling me. But in that situation, you literally lost your own balance. You were falling on your own. And for him to grab the ball and put it down, and then the referee went to VAR because they got a yellow card initially. But VAR was like, no, there's more to this. There's more to this.
Literally pulled it back, you know. And for the fact that you're saying that he was not even touched, he thinks the opposite. You know, he says that he was actually fouled, and he actually came out and apologized. We have a graphic of that to say that he apologized. He had to come out and apologize to his teammates, and he says, I had it under control. The ball came and I let it bounce. I fell to the ground and got pushed, which made me use my hands. The moment changed the game, and I feel responsible. I saw how the guys fought after, and I am proud of it. But I feel bad about the incident.
So now, before you continue, this was the guy who got linked with Liverpool when he was leaving Ajax.
Yeah.
Are you happy that he went to Juventus now?
I always said I was not happy with that move.
Yeah.
But then you raised a valid point by saying that he's joining a team that is
defensively sound.
Very defensively sound. He can learn how to be a much better defender. And I did think, okay, maybe you're correct. But I thought maybe a move to Liverpool, playing against someone he plays with in international level, someone who's a leader of some sort. So I thought it would be a much better move for him, because he would have played week in and week out. Let's be honest, he's that quality of a player to be playing week in and week out, and he's not doing that at Juventus. He's not doing
making way for Bonucci.
You know what I'm saying? So I do see that was pretty much a bad move. But with Chiellini, slightly getting that injury in the Euros, I mean, Juventus really are looking for someone who would replace him. And I do think that if they're looking at bringing in, if they're looking at making a De Ligt their first choice, it wouldn't be a bad idea. But they still have Demiral in that team, who's a much better defender, much more calm, and then De Ligt is much more experienced than he is. So I do see him struggling further in Juventus.
All right, let's talk about the Czech players that made a difference in this game. Thomas Holz and Patrick Schick. Now, Patrick Schick is the number 10 that everybody's been talking about. He's the one who scored that goal from the halfway line, and everybody was going crazy. Who is this guy? He went again, and he scored another beautiful goal. Obi knows, I know that a lot of people won't give him credit for that goal because the ball is dragged him back into him. But on his left foot, on the slide, to put that ball in the back of the net through that small gap there.
It was poor goalkeeping, though, eh? Like,
From Martin Stecklenburg.
Yeah,
but okay, honestly,
terrible.
first of all, this is Martin Stecklenburg. We expect that from him. We really do expect that from him. So we cannot complain about that. But that guy, Patrick Schick, on the stride to score a goal like that.
Those are the two Czech assassins. That's Patrick Schick and Thomas Holz. And they gave a brilliant performance. I mean, I'm impressed by Thomas Holz. I mean, he pulled up in this game. He was a very deep player, played in a deep role alongside Thomas Suchek in that midfield. But he was making those progressive runs. I mean, you look at the goal that Patrick Schick scored. He had to run from deep in that midfield position, carry that ball, go out wide, and cross it back in. So much energy coming from Holz there. And I must say that I didn't expect them to do it. I honestly didn't expect them to do it. Looking at how Netherlands had started, but I did make mention of one thing yesterday, was that the difference between Netherlands and Italy was that in their last game, although they had already qualified in the first two games, the coach didn't look at his other options to see who am I going to bring in should, I not have an option with the players that are on the field. And I thought that was the difference because Italy, they struggled for 90 minutes, brought in, their substitutes, players who played well in the previous game, and they got the 2 goals.
Yeah.
They scored the 2 goals. So I do think that maybe Frank de Boer could have, maybe checked out his other options and, maybe he would have gotten a better side to who might, be a better choice to play in such situations. It's unfortunate for Netherlands. They had a very good squad. I feel like they should have done a lot better. But under the coach, I'm not really surprised, to be honest.
Yeah, let's move on and talk about Belgium versus Portugal. This was the game we said is one of the 2 ties of the round. And this was a big game because Ronaldo versus Lukaku. Already that battle in the season didn't end well for Ronaldo in the Serie A after Lukaku managed to pick up the Scudetto. But now, in this game, where it looked like it was all to be done, the player who was not a star player, who was not even the guy we were looking at in the pre-match. We weren't talking about this guy. No one talked about this guy. And he just goes and scores a scorch of a goal. Yeah. And the funny thing is...
the goalkeeper was terrible.
The goalkeeper was terrible, yes, we'll give that. But what did I say? Did I not say the goalkeepers from Wolves? I did say that, but people don't believe me. Let me carry on and tell you the chats. Now, when he scored that goal, Obi knows, literally in a game with no creativity, in a game with just knocking on each other's doors, no one doing anything special. I mean, only Renato Sanchez had some good moments in the first half going forward. Martinho was nowhere to be found. But Bernardo Silva was typically going down the wing. Ronaldo was doing what he usually does. The best chance in the first half falling for Diogo Jota. We're looking at a Portugal with no ideas. We're looking at a Belgium with no ideas. And at the end of the day, the ball falls to this man. I'm not even talking about a piece of play that got the ball to this guy. The ball literally fell to this guy. And what does he do? He pulls a Gerrard. He just right foot, shot in the back of the net. And I know they'll say they'll say the ball swerved. I'll give it to them. They'll say the ball swerved. All I'm saying is, the keeper, Buffett.
The keeper was dead.
The keeper was dead.
But it's just a thing that just was it last week? It was okay, it's Monday today. A couple of days ago, I was like, wait, dog. You know what I'm saying? This guy could do, he's going to Roma. You know what I'm saying? He's going to play in the Conference League.
But the thing is, one thing I keep saying about Portugal that people don't understand, Portugal is truly bravo, fit.
Whoa.
Like big packs up front and then small legs because it's not popping at the back.
No, but it's not really bad at the back, to be honest.
Who knows?
To be honest,
it was okay. It was a solid performance at the back. But my problem was when I looked at that game, right? Belgium had 5 defenders, right? But this is for Tongan. You're talking about Alderweireld. You're talking about
Vermeulen, bro.
These guys. Do you know that for Belgium, 5 of those players had made over 100 appearances for Belgium. 5.
That's how long they've been.
5. Romelu Lukaku's on 98 now. So by the time this tournament is over, if they play 2 more games, Romelu Lukaku will be playing his 100th game. This team is old. This team is old. And the thing is, I looked at the coach as well, and I was like, no, João Felix. You could have tried something different. You can see Diogo Jota is not working against his back 3. Try something different. Where is Bruno Fernandes? I mean, all these key names that we heard of. Bernardo Silva didn't do much in that game. Every time he got the ball, he was trying to break down the right flank. You could see it's not working. He's not switching flanks.
To be honest, I looked at both teams. And I thought the coaches, the selection kind of, it was shady. It was shady, the selection. I mean, looking at Belgium firstly, before we come to Portugal, I mean, I didn't expect Eden Hazard to start the game. I mean, he hasn't been, an active member of the Real Madrid squad. In this competition as well, he's not been the go-to guy, I thought Dries Mertens would be, the first option. And I think creatively, he could have done a lot better than what Eden Hazard was doing. I mean, this is not the same Eden Hazard. He can't even take a man on. He can't even run,
couldn't
bro.
turn anyone.
He can't even run.
Funny enough, when the goal was scored, I thought it was Eden Hazard, but it was a different Hazard.
In fact, that was Eden Hazard. The one who scored was Hazard.
The other one was Hazard. So let's take a break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation and talk about this game in depth.
Coming together was just the beginning. And as Mzansi's first, Supa TV has continuously been your place of entertainment, inspiration, live gameplay fun, and of course, the most authentic moments to light up your TV screens. Coming together is the beginning. Creating together is the process. Keeping you entertained is our success. This year, we continue to be your inside edge, your gaming guide, your place to play with confidence 24/7. This year, Supa TV continues to bring you more.
Hello and welcome back to Mo Sports. Wow, the world is a very funny place. I mean, when you think about the fact that people put their money on Portugal to go through, I mean, I was one of those people. I expected Portugal to give us a better performance, but they failed to do so, and Belgium put in 1 goal, and 1 goal was enough to see that. Funny enough, I gotta confess this before we go into the Mo riddle and I remind you what you're watching. After that Hazard goal,
Yeah.
I went to bed.
Oh. Really?
I was like, the game is
You
over.
thought it was done?
I was like, the game is done.
Oh, no, it
I was like,
wasn't.
it's done. It's over. What am I watching from here?
Come on, Mo. Look, you could have. No, it was a very nice game. Towards the end, Portugal were really. You missed out.
All right, let's give you the I was almost gonna say the answer to the Mo. Let's give you the Mo riddle right now. You can read it for yourself. Named by Pele in his FIFA 100 list. He played for Sporting Gijón, Barcelona, and Real Madrid, and made over 60 appearances for his national side, which is Spain. If you know who he is, because he's currently a football manager, and let me give you guys one more clue, because I see Veli El Shapa that day. This guy is coaching in the Euro 2020, just to narrow it down, and he's in the knockout stages of the competition. So if you know who he is, the number is 071-621-4746. Owinos, let's continue the conversation. I know you're a bit distracted right now, but I still have some problem. So you're saying towards the end of the game, Portugal came to life?
Portugal came to life. But what I also saw, like I was talking about the lineups before we went to the break, coming to Portugal, I think Portugal, one thing they tried to do was to play Renato Sanchez along with João Moutinho through the middle. And I think had they added a little bit more steel in that midfield, you can't take out Danilo Pereira, man. Danilo Pereira breaks down attacks. João Moutinho is not going to do that for you. Of course, yes, you do have Renato Sanchez who will chase people down.
Santos was on some other things.
He was on some other things.
He was on some other things. Because when I look at that 11, I mean, that's what I'm saying. When teams have a lot of options up front, which is something that Argentina has been guilty of for a very long time now. When you have a lot of options up front, you tend to sacrifice utility for creativity. You know, you tend to say, look, we don't need a utility player in there. We just need someone who will make creative passes. Let's outscore them. It's basically the message. And if you look at a team where you have João Moutinho in the starting lineup, Bernardo Silva in the starting lineup, Diogo Jota, Cristiano Ronaldo, Renato Sanchez, and then you have Paulinho.
Paulinho
and then he has Paulinho in there. You're looking at a team where you're saying, Paulinho, you have to do the job, the dirty job, and then everybody else will do the creative job. And it put Paulinho into trouble because he got himself a yellow card very early in the game. There were 2 incidents by the time he got the yellow card where I thought he should have gotten a yellow card because he was the only man to snuff out the danger, and he was always panicking to say, if they get past me, they're facing Pep. You know what I mean? I need to make this tackle. It's very desperate. I mean, there was a moment where Romelu Lukaku was running away with the ball. I mean, he was running through acres of space, and he pulled Lukaku with the shirt, which was already dangerous. That was the first incident. The second incident was when Kevin De Bruyne was also in a position to run with the ball, and Paulinho came in again, and he kicked him from behind, and that's when he got the yellow card. So you're looking at that, and you're thinking to yourself, you're putting a lot of pressure on this one player to be the utility player, and you're saying everybody else must do the creative job, which did not work because against that back five, Obi knows, there was literally a cavity. There's literally a cavity between the 2 lines. There was no Portuguese players there. You know what I mean? Ronaldo was playing out wide. Diogo Jota was playing out wide. Most of the time, you'd find that it was a 2 against 1 on the flanks, but no one was running through the middle. João Moutinho was playing alongside Bernardo Silva on the other side, 2 against 1. On this side was Ronaldo and Diogo Jota, 2 against 1. Renato Sanchez was trying to play through the middle. Paulinho was not trying to do anything creative going forward, and they didn't have enough going forward.
I think Danilo Pereira would have been the difference in this game, and I've said countless of times because for me, he's proved to be that player for Portugal over the years. I mean, yes, he did it. He did it along William. I just forgot his first name. William, who plays for Real Betis right now. And I thought that the two. It's like having 2 strong players in that midfield who break, Kharaf all the way, because you have so much creativity going forward, and you have a player like João Moutinho or even Bernardo Silva who's able to pick out a pass. So you don't need to have such a fluid lineup. I mean, it was so fluid. You could see that he wanted to play through Belgium. He wanted to get the team play, but it didn't really happen because once they're under attack, there's no one who's there to break down defenses, and Danilo Pereira is the man to do that for you week in and week out. Why leave him out?
All right, before we talk about Croatia and Spain, let me take you through some of the numbers from this game with Belgium and Portugal. Now, 6 shots for Belgium altogether, one of them being on target. It was the goal. They had 42% of the ball. They had 451 passes, and 83% of those passes were accurate. With 14 fouls that they committed, this was Belgium, and 2 yellow cards and 0 red cards in the game. There's only 1 offside in this entire game for Belgium. On Portugal's side, Portugal had 23 shots at goal. 23 shots at goal. 4 of those shots were on target, with 58% of the position going to Portugal. 596 passes is what Portugal made, and 88 of those passes were accurate. They made 9 fouls. They had 3 yellow cards. Imagine that. Portugal had 3 yellow cards with no red cards, 3 offsides, and 3 corners. So basically, we're seeing what we saw against Chiefs with Wydad Casablanca. All the knocking came from the team that lost. I mean, these guys had the possession stat, they had the passing, they had the passing accuracy, they even had more fouls, and they even had more yellow cards. But at the end of the day, the team that did the least won the game. And we're looking at something that we're not talking much about right now in football, and that's not the quality of the chances. Not the quantity of the chance, because we look at football as a game of numbers, and sometimes it's not even about the quality. It's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. So you look at that one shot on target. I mean, Ruben Patricio was caught off guard there. He should also come out and say, look, I was caught off guard. I didn't quite see that ball come my way, but I tried my best to save it. It swerved. That's the best you could say. It swerved.
There's no way it swerved. I think his standing position was terrible, firstly.
And he started off in the air.
He misjudged it. He misjudged it completely. And I do think that it was a very costly goal to concede. Very clearly proved to be very costly. But he could have done a whole lot better. And I think Jose Mourinho, wherever he is now, he's already thinking twice about his decision.
Some food.
He's already thinking twice, like, is this the right decision to bring in this goalkeeper? But I still do think he's quality.
He's a good
but he can make such mistakes, and that's one thing that he has in his locker, being able to make such dreadful mistakes.
All right, let's talk about Croatia and Spain. As you know, Croatia and Spain are going to be facing each other today, and this is the big game for today, because if you look at the other game, it's France and Switzerland, we can already make up who's going to go through there. But when you're looking at these two sides, they came into prominence over the last decade. I mean, Spain being known as the team that couldn't win an international trophy for the longest time, and in between the 2008 and 2012, they were the international side. And now it looks like they're coming back to their full powers. They're coming back to a team that we can respect. I mean, we skip out Morata, but they're still coming back, you know what I mean? So, let's talk about Spain. I mean, they come into this tournament, Morata has not been performing that well. They've been having all the possession stats, not enough goals until the last game in the group stages. Do you think that Croatia should be worried?
I think with even Perisic also missing for Croatia, I mean, he contracted the COVID virus. So he won't be available for them, and he's been very important in the last two games. Actually scored in both of the last two games that they played. So he's an important player. They'll be missing him. They will definitely be worried. I do think that in terms of quality, yes, Spain do have quite a lot of quality in their team, and of course Croatia have their own players they can depend on. I mean, I did say that last week they had Brozovic and Kovacic, in the midfield, and that allowed Modric to be in a more advanced role, and that could be their way in. It could be their way in. But if Spain do come through and they have Sergio Busquets in that midfield or a Rodri, it's much easier for them to break down those attacks. I mean, that's one thing they do brilliantly. And it could be a game for Spain to win. Yes, I do think Spain do have a big chance of winning it. But if they're not careful, they might just be facing another exit out of this competition.
All right, let's talk about France and Switzerland. The other game is taking place today. Do you think the Swedes will be able to take down the French?
You say the Swedes?
Yeah, I thought about it. I was like, didn't think of it in the context of food. The Swedes and the French.
Because they actually like, they are both countries that, deal with. I like that. Well, I think the French are through it, man. I think the French, the last time I said this about France, they ended up drawing with Hungary, and so it could be a bit of a situation. But the talent is there for Switzerland. The players that could cause trouble are there. Brilliant ballers in there. Shaqiri has proved himself.
Seferovic.
I think Seferovic would be someone, if they underestimate the way I'm underestimating him.
He'll hurt you.
He hasn't been scoring in a long time. So that goal that he scored in that last game would definitely give him a bit of confidence. So he would hurt France if they.
I just want to ask you as a sports analyst, Dovinos, why Seferovic? I mean, for so long, we've looked at Switzerland for so long, and this squad has been the same. I mean, there's always been these guys. Why Seferovic?
Man, I guess they don't have a lot of options up front in terms of choosing out of the bunch that they have. I mean, even when they're playing the other player that they can play up front, Brilliant Baller coming up, he was much more of a wide player, not a striker. But because of the lack of strikers they have in Switzerland, they started using him as a more in a striking position, and that actually opened doors for Brilliant Baller, because where he plays now, he plays as a striker, he plays as an out-and-out striker. So that's one thing that Switzerland have been struggling with, the depth in terms of their attacking role. So they have to depend on Seferovic and Brilliant Baller. I'm happy that he actually came to the party. Although he scored one goal so far in this campaign, I do think that that front two, should you not pay attention to them, they'll definitely cause you some troubles.
All right, so let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to be looking at the Copa America and also making our bet. So you don't want to miss out on that one, because already our bet slip might have been ruined by this whole upset.
What is anticipation?
Hit me, baby, one more time.
Oh, what?
Nice. It's nice.
What anticipation looks like.
Oh, 11. Oh,
Give me a
you want a hit?
9.
What the? Can I have a hit, please? What?
Go,
Thank you very much.
Go, bust.
Quack, quack, quack.
How to set up anticipation.
Deal.
And if I were you,
I would stand.
How to anticipate.
yeah, yes, guys, hey, come.
Play, please play.
Well, oh,
250.
K18.
Go, bust.
Watch us play blackjack on Supa TV, channel 150 on OpenView. Or anticipate yourself when you SMS Supa TV to 30978. Supa TV, let's play. In the beginning, there was Super Bets. Then there was Supa TV. Your inside edge. Your gaming guide. Your place to play. Supa TV. OpenView. Channel 150.
Welcome back to More Sports. Well, it's been an interesting journey today. I mean, we've not even been able to cover everything, but we're going to make our bet slip just now. Welcome back to the show. My name is Mo, and I'm joined by our in-house sports analyst, Mr. Obi Knows. And we're talking all things football at this moment in time, including the Mo riddle. Let me see if you know your football that well. Let's see if you know football that well. Like I did say, this man is a manager in the Euro 2020. He was named in Pele's FIFA 100 list. He was only one of 3 Spaniards. I'm trying to give you guys clues here. See if you guys know your football that well. And then basically, this is the Mo riddle. If you want to submit your answer, the number is 0716214746. He played for Barcelona, Real Madrid, Sporting Gijon, and he made over 60 appearances for Spain. If you know who he is, well, WhatsApp us the answer. Who knows? Let's move on. It's a very interesting time in world football at this moment in time. It's Copa America, it's the Euros, it's the CAF. CAF, I think, gave us the most drama. And now the Euro's catching up because now you can't hide behind a group stage. You can't hide behind somebody else losing for you to go through.
You don't think PSL gave us drama, boy?
No. See, the thing is, right now, I think football right now is a very rich industry to be in because there's so many topics you can talk about with what's happening with Royal AM and what's happening in the finals of the CAF Champions League. No one saw this coming. The whole of Africa, no one saw a team called Kaizer Chiefs from Soweto making it to the final. We never thought so.
Yeah, we didn't.
Like in the early stages, we were already talking about getting knocked out in the group stage. And
But
then God,
boy,
they went through.
No one thought they would get past that qualifying round. You know, when you get a second, you still need to go to the qualifying round.
Yeah.
And no one thought they would do it, and they got in. You know, of course, they failed so many times in that, in that position, and we thought that it would be one of those things. Boy, it was Kevin Hunt. Credit to Kevin Hunt. Must be given.
There's a thing about like when we talk about football coaches. Once he's left, he's done nothing.
No, we have to give him the credit. We have to give him the credit.
But we're not here to talk about him, Obino. Let's talk about your team, Brazil.
They drew yesterday.
They drew. Who did they draw against? Tell the people at home.
Okay, they drew against Ecuador. But all I'm saying is, they're still favorites, man. I mean, one game where the team is pretty much off, and playing against a team that is really adamant to beat you. I mean, Ecuador are not a team that are easily pushed over around Copa America. I mean, around the South America region. They're one of those teams where, they'll give you a tough time. And if you actually take a look at, we'll take a look at some of the results on the Supa Stats website, and you'll see that in this competition, they've been alive. So to get the draw against Brazil, I think it's gonna be positive for their morale. They can push into, of course, qualified for the knockout stages of the Copa America. So I do think look, they gave a brilliant performance, but Brazil still the favorite.
All right, let me talk you through how it went down. So basically, at this moment in time, the teams that are in the quarterfinals waiting for the other group to conclude: Peru, Brazil, Colombia, and Ecuador. Those are the 4 teams waiting in the quarterfinals for the rest of the group to sort themselves out. But at this moment in time, Ecuador and Brazil are sitting on 1-1. I mean, they drew 1-1, while Peru lost out to Peru beat Venezuela 1-0. And then Uruguay is kicking off tomorrow at 2 a.m. in the morning against Paraguay. And then Bolivia is also going to be kicking off against Argentina tomorrow morning. I guess once those games are taking place, we will then know who's going to go from Group B into the quarterfinals. Let's go to the website. Let's go make our bet slip. But before we make our bet slip, don't forget to SMS Supa TV to 30978. And then Obi knows, quickly, go to the top of the website there. Let's go to account. I want to show people our share. Because I think our whole bet slip might have been messed around with. Bet list. Sharp. Multiple, the last multiple we made.
This one.
Yeah, it must be that one. There's no other one.
But you see how many L's we take here, boy.
Don't put our stuff out there. So as you can see, Italy, Austria. We said,
ended in a draw.
we said Italy would win.
would win, yeah. It went to extra time. So.
It went to extra time.
When I saw the result, I was like, I was like, what
At
a
that time,
waste.
we're sitting there waiting for our monies because they won. But okay, fine. We'll forgive them for that one. And then Denmark, we were right. They did smash them one side. So we still have a best slip to go because we didn't put our money on this game with Portugal and Denmark. And then in Portugal and Belgium. There's another game we didn't put money on here. Because it can't be Italy, Austria. I mean, Italy, Denmark, and then straight to Spain.
The Netherlands game is there. All
Did
the
we?
games are there, boy.
Did we put money on Netherlands?
We put money on Netherlands. Oh my
Oh my
goodness.
goodness.
Mo, boy. I told you, boy.
What do you mean you told me?
Frank de Boer, boy.
All right, wait, hold on. Before we get touched about go back. Let's try to stay again, guys. These things happen. You might lose a friend, but you gotta keep betting. Let's go. Home, moving us home. You don't need to show everybody this. Imagine now you're watching most sports for the first time. Like, these guys are talking all these things about this. They don't talk this like that. We do. Go to Euro 2020. We'll go sort out our lives quickly.
Oh, man.
In fact, go to Price Boost. I'm thinking maybe there's something there about Price Boost. You know what I'm saying? So welcome.
Price boost is the one.
England, Germany.
Ooh, tomorrow.
All right. Total corners 8. No, that one is too much. Go to the last one. Last market. The last market is always the best market. Okay, what does it say? 2-0 to Germany. Give it to them. Give it to them. Give it to them.
I'm giving it.
Same time. Clipper.
Clip on that stuff, boy.
Yeah, clipper.
Clip.
Yeah, no, to all our haters. You all know us like that. All right, thank you for joining us here on Mo Sports. Before we end the show, let's show you the answer to the Mo riddle. We got excited there for a second. But if you don't know who this is, let me give you one more shout at who it might be. Okay, guys. Who knows? Should we just tell them? I think we should just tell them. It's this guy.
It's Luis Enrique.
It's Luis Enrique. Yeah. This guy was voted by Pele on the FIFA 100 list for the best footballers that Pele thought of. The 100 list. Pele said, these are the 100 people I'm going to put in there. And this guy was one of only 3 Spanish players to make it in there alongside Raul.
That's surprising.
How good was Enrique as a footballer?
It makes me feel like I don't know football.
You know what I mean?
I feel like I don't know football.
Like all the viewers at home were just like, Luis Enrique played soccer.
Like, nah, we need to go back. In fact, I need to go back into the history of Barcelona.
Yeah.
Like, for example, we had coaches like Johan Neeskens here in South Africa,
Yeah.
coach Mamelodi Sundowns, was a legend at Barcelona. Stoichkov was also a player there at Barcelona. So I do think that some of these players, these grown people that we know, they actually had a spell at Barcelona, and we nyata them. So I do think I need to.
You know what's the funniest thing?
Barcelona, yeah.
Luis Enrique had a longer stint at Barcelona than at Real Madrid. Because at Real Madrid he made over 150 appearances, and then at Barca he made over 200
Where did he go
appearances.
first?
He was at Real Madrid before Barcelona. That's why in the riddle it said Barcelona then Real Madrid. All right, thank you for joining us here on the Mo Sports. We'll see you again on Wednesday from 1 to 2 p.m. here on channel 150 Open View Supa TV, powered by Super Bets.